Hey everyone, it's Michelle from Positive Power. Absolutely thrilled to be here with you today on a wintry day here in Sarnia, Ontario. Thrilled to be here with you with my friend Tish Taylor. Tish, nice to have you here with us today.
Thanks, Michelle. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, it's absolutely fabulous. I love when I can spend some time with like-minded people, right?
Agreed. It's not
Yes.
always easy to find people that you jive with, so it's super exciting when you do.
Yeah, exactly right. And then you click, right? Just having that same energy and positive perspective for the win, I think.
And
Yeah.
that whole 2 + 2 = like 5, right?
Yeah,
Two minds together helping each other. Yep.
that's exactly right. Exactly right. So I was thrilled to get together with you today. I wanted to talk about you a little bit and talk about what you've got going on and really what you're offering to help and support people. It's crazy times we're in, and a lot of times, changing your perspective or changing your thinking, if you will, can really help you align with where you want to be in life. Don't you agree?
I do 100%. And just bring that awareness to people, right? I know that before I was walking around in the dark and just not aware really of what we are capable of and what was an option out there, right? Just following blindly what society made it look like the life we were supposed to try to live and how freeing that is. So super passionate about helping other people find that as well.
Excellent. I love that. And it's interesting that you said that. I was watching some, because as you know, I'm a documentary junkie. And I was watching something recently, and they were talking about, 95% of your time once you're an adult is on a program, right? You're on repeat all the time. You're not varying from the status quo, or we're driving places without remembering how we got there because we're creatures of habit. So mixing it up, putting the conscious effort into mixing it up, I think really makes a difference. And I love that that's where your focus is. I'm just appreciating your background there that you have in it. It says growth centric living. That is your title, correct?
Hmm. That
And
is the title of my business. Yep.
yeah, excellent. And I'm going to be honest, I don't really know. And mentioned to this when we got together, I can't say I'm 100% sure that I know exactly what that means. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and maybe you can share with us and then explain more of what you've got going on.
Sure. For me, really, it's kind of like my goal about how I sort of want to live my life.
Mhm.
So that's why I chose to name my business it, and really growth being always learning, always being a student, trying to improve myself personally on all kinds of levels, like mindset, like you talked about, as well as physically. Being a parent of two, that's also a passion of mine, just doing the best I can and helping that next generation come up with as many tools as I could possibly give them as a parent. So growth kind of centered is where the centric comes from, and then like a passion for life and living my entire life that way.
I love it because life is for the living, right?
Well, yeah, and right. And if we only get one, then I certainly want to, go with a bang and do the best that I can. I lived a good amount of my life in that kind of corporate world where feeling stuck in a box and this is, what your life is supposed to be like and how you're supposed to live, and really struggled with that. So it's funny that statistic that you just gave me was also one of the first things that almost kind of sent me on that path. What an
Oh,
eye opener that was to
yeah,
know that we're just on autopilot, right? Just living in that like comfort zone, just with what we've always known and not realizing that we don't have to. And we
exactly.
can break through and we have the power to do so.
Yeah, exactly. And it's quite disappointing when you think about you're just functioning, you're not achieving, you're not, learning lessons or setting goals. That is that no wonder there's such a high depression level, right, in society. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've witnessed a bunch of that. Like I said, living in the corporate world, seeing people that are, somewhat successful career-wise, but not feeling fulfilled and not happy because, just raising that levels and working your life away doesn't actually bring happiness. Or even at the student level, I also am a teacher at the college, and I'm lucky enough to be able to interact with some of those younger minds, but they're so tied sometimes their self-worth to their grades and just thinking that that's the only way. So they're there because they think that that's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And it is heartbreaking.
Yeah, absolutely. How discouraging. And you think about social media today and how many people hang on, likes and shares and oh my gosh, I've been unfollowed. I could be unfollowed by a lot of people and not even notice. Some people would, and it just crushes them inside. It's interesting times for sure, right? So many different variables for people to navigate through. Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what are you offering to make a difference in the community?
Well, one of the things that I'm trying to do, so in my business, I have courses available and really looking to mentor people. One of the identities I've tried to kind of take on for myself is just being a constant light and showing people what the potential is that they can have in their life, knowing that like things that you talk about too, that's where our kind of similarities come around
Yes,
with, the law of attraction and growth and mindset, how our thoughts and our emotions kind of affect our life and our reality, and how much power we have um, to really see things differently. That so much more of life is a choice than what people realize. And I, again, as a parent, am really passionate about not only teaching that to adults who may already be on a similar kind of growth journey and are ready to looking for more and kind of step up their growth maybe a little bit faster in a condensed program that I can offer, but also applying that to their children and to being a parent so that, we have kids and generations that come up just with that little bit more knowledge
exactly.
than maybe what we did.
Very good, very good. And yeah, I agree. It's time to break some patterns, right? And limited beliefs that so many of us, of myself as well, but of us that we carry with us. Like even when you think about, just for an example, our relationships with money, right? We're like I was raised with money doesn't grow on trees. People that have money are not good people, so why would I aspire to want to be those people? And so it it really toxifies our relationship with money, or if we have the bar set too high in our relationships, expecting other people to raise us up when we need it, when we need to learn how to raise ourselves up. Very
Well,
significant.
that whole kind of attraction thing, right? That everything is
Yeah,
energy, including money and relationships, right? And the more we
absolutely.
kind of work on ourselves, which is what my focus on is, the more we attract more of like things, right? So, I really believe that even me being on this journey is what has allowed us to connect and, uh,
100%.
right, on that kind of same wavelength, right?
Yeah.
You start to like attracts like that whole.
Exactly right. It's so true. And when you're putting out that positive energy, you're not getting your feathers ruffled by, drama or different conflict going on in the world. You're exactly right. The right people will navigate towards you. There's no coincidences. I do not believe in coincidences at all. And then the other side of it is that, like because I'm a positive person, negative people have no interest in hanging out with me because I don't buy into the drama. I won't let you dump all your, like energy vampire, right? Suck my energy or leave your drama with me. You feel better. I feel like crap. It is just so real. And I think, it's interesting. I love what you said about like that we have more power than we think. When you think about something that hasn't made a physical change, like say a relationship. So you're going along day to day and you're not in a relationship, and maybe you feel like you want a relationship. The moment you meet that person that gives you that spark, nothing has physically changed, but you have. Do you know what I mean? It's the same as if you don't have a job and you're trying to get a job, you haven't physically walked into the place yet or got a paycheck. But the day you get the phone call that you got the job, the release, the relief, everything, do you know what I mean? It's just so powerful what the change is. So when you think about how much power you have, tapping into a program like you're offering or learning, how to do things on the day to day is paving the way to success.
Yeah, I think what I would call kind of what you're saying is your perspective, right?
Yeah,
So before you have the job, you're
yeah,
not really sure if you're worthy of the job that you kind of want. You're not, confident in your abilities, and then you get it and your perspective changes, right? All of a sudden, how you see the world, right?
yeah,
You're a success now. All of a sudden, I've done it. I can do
that's
this
right.
now. For sure, I can do it, and I'm
Yeah,
positive about it. So, like you
yeah,
said, before you even walk into the place, and I think
exactly.
that's one of the important things about what actually both you and I do is, just empowering people that you can choose to give yourself that perspective before it happens. And
Exactly.
then there are things, like the law of balance or conformity and those kinds of things that
Yeah,
then draw those things to you because you already believe. So it's almost like the universe or, reality in a sense has to deliver it to you because you're
exactly.
you're you're calling it. There's no doubt. It's like those lucky people that, just have no doubt. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I know I'm going to win, and they have no doubt. That's their perspective. It's their energy that's already calling these things to them, and then undoubtedly it happens,
That's right.
right? Or sometimes the opposite, people that just believe they're not lucky or, believe the kind of more negative side of things, and
Yeah,
their life and how they see things and their perspective just keeps reinforcing that. So, I think it's
exactly that.
important for people to know that it's a choice.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And it means owning your stuff, right? There's a hard factor to it sometimes.
It does. Yeah. That's where the kind of the growth piece comes in,
Yeah,
right? That you really have to become aware. That's the first step, really, right? Of,
yeah,
what kind of thoughts am I having? What kind of energy am I putting out there? What is it that I'm looking for? What is my perspective? Which all kind of embeds into those beliefs, right? And we reinforce things. One of the things actually I was learning today was a thing called Betdar, which is basically like your kind of like cycle of how your beliefs create your emotions, create your thoughts, and
right.
then those are the decisions and actions that you take, and then ultimately those are the results. Well, your results then reinforce your beliefs, and then you just keep kind of going in this cycle. But
Mm,
it's a choice to stay there, right? And what a huge eye opener that is, taking yourself out of that 95%
yes.
subconscious operating system and realizing, wait a minute, I don't have to believe this
Yeah,
anymore. Yes, this might have been embedded in me from whatever experience I had in the past or from
yeah.
something else, but I don't have to keep it now. Once you're aware, even though, like you said, that's really hard work, but then once I'm aware, then I can choose.
And then you can release it, right? It's like going to the gym is also hard work, but the benefits once, right? And it gets easier as you go. And it's the same when you're working on yourself that way and you're owning it. And it's like realizing you don't, like, say you had a crappy situation, we all have at some point, realizing, like, are you a victim or a survivor? It's up to you. You have the control, right? You can live in that dark spot and always be the victim and woe is me and the negativity and everything. Or you can be like, hell yeah, I survived that, right? I made it. I'm growth, like you said. And now I'll move forward with that experience, not to repeat it. If you have a lot of, say, like crappy exes, are you the common denominator? Maybe something to look at, right? Reflecting. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Such a great conversation.
Well, true. And not even just doing the work and knowing also that you don't have to do it by yourself,
Yes.
right? I am a firm believer, and I have invested in myself. I have got sought out my own coaches and paid for my own courses so that I could develop these skills and learn off other people's trial and error, and so that I can learn and grow faster. And that's one of the most profound things I think that you can do for yourself, is just giving yourself that gift, right? To help invest in yourself personally, and then changing your beliefs or being able to even, work on this and get some guidance in how to better yourself and grow, then it has like a compounding effect on the rest of your life, right? Just changing that perspective, like we talked about. It's not just about your relationships. It also may have to do with your money and your career and, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
small amounts and you don't have to do it by yourself. There is all of this out there, and yes, it's hard work, but you don't have to do it by yourself. There are
absolutely. Yeah, and it's over time, right? You're not going to do it in one day. So I love that. So can you talk a little bit about we have a Facebook page, right? So I've been to your Facebook page. So can you talk about that a little bit?
yeah, sure. It's Tish Taylor. And really what I try to do there is just provide some value. Uh, one of my ultimate goals is not only to promote my business and to help others, but also looking to develop community.
Right.
Personally, I have found it difficult to find other like-minded people and people that were willing to grow because, like you said, not everyone is willing. And you know what? We're all on our own paths as humans. You know, there's a saying that you're never too late. You're just on your own journey, regardless of what
That's
your
right.
age is. And so, you know, there's a certain acceptance that goes along with that, that not everybody might be willing to come along with you. But I'm looking more actively, I guess, also through my business and looking for a community. So on my Facebook page, I'm looking for that. So for some other friends and like-minded people, but also to provide some value and hope to start some engagement and some conversations where people want to talk about things like how do we manage our emotions? People want to talk about the difficulties of parenting and how we might change our children's perspective so that they too can be positive and realize that, you know, that old saying of you can be whatever you want, really you can be. And I
Mhm.
believe that wholeheartedly, and instilling that into their little imaginations, how, you
Exactly.
know, everything started with a thought at some point, you know, and pushing through maybe the negative and the naysayers, right? Because
Yeah,
it happens. They're, like
yeah,
we said, not everybody wants to change, is what creates things like airplanes and the internet. And right, like nobody came up with those crazy ideas and at the time told them to everybody who thought, oh yeah, that's great, yeah, sure, you can send information through the internet to anyone in the world, this thing, you know,
oh,
and
absolutely.
pushing through that. So that's what I try to do on my Facebook page. It's Tish Taylor, and I'm also on Instagram at Tish Taylor 19,
Okay, great. Excellent.
where I kind of share similar content. So whatever platform is more familiar to you.
Right,
So
exactly. Because not everybody's on Facebook, right? And that's okay. Yeah, absolutely. So I love that, reaching out, growing a community, and sharing your knowledge. So very good. So you do a course, right? You have a course?
I do. Yep. I have a few kind of workshops, smaller workshops for anybody that is interested in that. And I try to focus those really on starting to like dream big. So they give you a little bit of a taste of what might be the potential when we talk about a growth centric kind of life and what you could
Nice.
do, as well as a full 6 month transformational course. And the next one actually is starting March 3rd.
Oh, good. Okay.
So where we start with like the basics, and one of the things my mentor, so this is actually a program by a gentleman named Peter Sage, we start with the basics of just reality and perspective, like we were talking about,
Yep.
and then by the end, we're talking about like working through those limiting beliefs that you and I kind of talked about, and your values and what motivates you to stay, you know, what your 95% is functioning on,
Yeah.
those unwritten rules that we all have, and then how to change those and how to pick and strategically start to plan out the kind of life and the kind of person and identity that you really want to live. So I personally kind of take you through that for 6 months for anybody that's really looking
Okay.
for investing in a transformation for themselves. And
Excellent.
like
So
I
do
said,
they have to
having
be local people?
no, it's online.
Okay, good.
So
Okay.
it is open to anyone. And there's a few weeks between each module. So it gives you lots of time to kind of do the work at your own pace. But then there's also one-on-one calls and mentoring where we get together and can talk as a group where people can share and we can kind of really like massage through the ideas. One of the things, the struggles that I personally found kind of in my growth journey really was that you would learn some things, but then you didn't know how to apply it.
Ah,
So I'm really trying to kind of provide that to people as well. Like, let's talk through. If you don't understand what you listened to and watched in the module, you know, or the books and the movies didn't quite get it there, like let's talk about how we apply that. And for me personally, I'm even that much more interested in applying it even to our kids, right? And how do we do that as parents so that, like I said, we can not only learn these skills for ourselves, but also pass them on to some of the generations that are coming.
Exactly, and make a better generation for the future. I love that. Very good. Very good. Excellent. So that's exciting. And I love how you can do it remotely. So, you know, when you look at different programs that people get involved with, having that one-on-one support and having you, you know, there when needed, that can be the game changer a lot of times. Because I know exactly that scenario you're talking about where you walk away and you're like, I get it, but I can't apply it. So that's huge.
I
Yeah,
think
very
it
good.
also gives you that accountability
Yeah,
piece, right? Right now, you know what, I'll be honest, my business is fairly small. So that allows me to really give you or any of my students, you know, just that little bit more attention, right? And that was one of the things that I needed too. So knowing that we were going to meet and that, you know, there might only be 10 or 20 people in this class at a maximum,
yeah,
that I'm going to know that person's going to know who I am on the other side, right? So they're
right.
going to ask, did you do the homework? You know, what are your thoughts on this? So they're keeping you accountable so
Sure.
that you're investing and progressing.
I love that. Very good. And the relationship between them and the other students, right? If you're doing group things.
Yeah, the one of the things that comes along is there is a buddy. So you have an option for me to be your buddy personally, or we can pair you up with different things in the group. And as a lifelong student, I think that helps, right? Sometimes just getting somebody else's perspective, and the more you don't think of things. Actually, I was having this conversation with my daughter the other day in school where she was doing like debate class, actually. And she was like, "Oh, it's so interesting when you hear other people's thoughts because I interpreted things this way." And then you
Right.
hear what other people think, right? So we just, again, compounding that kind of like growth piece, which really helps, where sometimes you can learn from others and from their experiences and even just how they interpret the same material.
And isn't it nice that you're seeing it carry forward in live time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Very good. So what if somebody's watching us today and they want to reach out and get more information or talk to you? How would they do that?
You can reach me on Facebook. Can I add my link or something? Maybe I can do that
Absolutely.
to
Yep, we'll add that. Yep,
this video so that they can get that easily and kind of click on there.
yep.
Um, or I guess I have a phone number.
Do you have an email?
I do. It is Tish Taylor emf@gmail.com.
Perfect.
So
Excellent.
uh, my name
Very
there, and then EMF, which is the name of the 6-month program. It's called Elite Mentorship Forum
yeah.
because, like I said, it really is like a group and a mentorship where we're all learning. And though I have the designation of a trainer, I'm hoping to, like I said, learn and build a community together with the people that are in the course.
Good, good. And I think, you know, the fact that you're learning and teaching, it gives you a whole different perspective as opposed to, you know, somebody who just has tunnel vision to being the teacher. So I think that's really another asset that you're bringing to the table.
Thank you. I appreciate
Sure.
that.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So before we break away, do you have anything else that you want to share today?
Maybe just like a story. I guess one
Sure.
of the success stories, and I had this conversation with my daughter today. You know, one of the hard things I personally found about parenting, and maybe some of our other people can relate out there if you're listening, is that, you know, you're trying to instill this knowledge and stuff onto your kids, and they're kind of like, yeah, sure, mom, yep, whatever, yep. My kids are always like, oh yeah, you're always talking about this stuff, and oh, you're watching another like so and so again, mom, good job. You know, and then you have like a conversation with them where, you know, my daughter is about to kind of go off to university and stuff, and she was talking just about like relationships and what she wants, and, you know, really just wanting somebody that um is willing to grow, right? She was like, it's not
Mm,
specific like that I want, you know, blue hair, I want somebody that's, you know, athletic or whatever. It's about their mindset. It's not about, again, whether they're coming from a rich family or whether they want to be, you know, a lawyer or something else like I do, but they need to want to grow. They need to be, you know,
Yeah.
have a thirst for like knowledge so that, you know, we can be on the same page. I'm looking for like a partner.
Right. Love that.
You know, kind of looked at me like, do you know, mom? And I was like, yes, I know exactly. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And just kind of, you know, just loving having that moment, realizing that you are having that effect, right? And that it's not superficial things that they are looking for in their lives, that they're paying attention and we really are the models for them. So that was one of my, I call them magic moments, where you try to like, you know, kind of collect results, that sort of beliefs that we were, you know, talking about, that sort of cycle. So I try to write those down for myself, and that when you're having low times, especially, you know, as a
Oh,
parent, that you can kind of go back and look at these, right? You create like a repertoire for yourself and proof that you can go back and say, okay, yeah, these moments happened. Like this is happening. You are doing it, even though we all have dips, like you said, and flows
yeah.
in our journeys.
I love that. What a great like, so I call it an aha moment. And
Uh,
it really is, right? I love that. Very good. And having that connection, and you're right. Like whenever you question yourself, and we all do, kids don't come with a handbook. Going back to that moment thinking, well, she got that. We're
yeah,
connecting on that level. Very good. Well, it's been a pleasure. I definitely want to do this again, maybe on the regular. I think that might be a good idea. So it's
that would be
been a
great.
pleasure. And everybody, please reach out to Tish. If you have some questions, share them with her, whether it's about the course or not about the course. I would also encourage you to follow her on her Facebook page. Um, just because she does, how often do you put out like a little video or a meme? Or I saw the one today that you put out about working out. How often do you do that?
A few times a week. So I'm
Perfect.
pretty consistent
Yeah.
in trying to get different things and different topics. Yeah, this week we were talking about the three games that we all have to play. So in life, you have to play the health game, you have to play the money game, and you have to play the game of relationships.
Okay.
So really just we're to this week, or at least today's post was on the health game. So personally, right, our minds and our physical bodies are just so connected. It's almost kind of that chicken and egg, I
Yeah.
think, kind of theory as to which one's important. So working on them both and getting out there
I love
and
that.
doing what needs to get done, even if you don't feel like
Exactly. That's
it.
right. I love that. So I highly recommend, also follow her on Instagram. You know, our algorithms attract by design a lot of negativity or a lot of things that drain us. So I encourage everybody, follow Positive Power Law of Attraction workshop group as well, and follow Tish. Surround yourself with things that lift you up, not things that bring you down. So thank you again for joining me. We'll definitely do that again soon.
Thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome.